I really didn't want to play this game. It's a childhood killer. It's like the Phantom Menace of skateboarding games. Tony Hawk 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. As much as I enjoyed the later entries in the series, I think the second one is just unbeatable. It's perfect. As the series continued, they kept adding in new features like reverts, getting off your board, and pressure flips, and those things helped keep the game fresh, but I don't think they actually improved on the formula. And it seems like Neversoft was always trying to recapture that magic. They introduced classic mode into some of the games, trying to match the feel of the originals, and they remade some of the classic levels as unlockables. There was even a remake of the first two games on the Xbox called Tony Hawk 2X. And now, in the most recent attempt to relive the original games, we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD. They promised an HD upgrade to the classic games. What they delivered is just like Pro Skater 1 and 2, except that they removed a bunch of stuff. While those two games have a combined 19 levels, this HD edition only has 7. Tony Hawk 2X, on the other hand, adds exclusive levels, boosting the total up to 24. Remember how Neversoft remade some of the original levels? Apparently this game was built using their Underground 2 source code. All 7 levels that appear in this game were stolen from Underground 1 and 2 and American Wasteland. Robomodo made no effort to actually make anything. Despite the promises that this game is exactly like the originals, they started off by using the PS2 era versions of the levels, not the originals themselves. We're already off to a terrible start. I think their selection could have been better too. My least favorite Tony Hawk levels are the linear ones, like the Mall and Downhill Jam. If you miss something in your run, you can't just take a shortcut around to the other side of the level. You have to go all the way to the end and teleport to the beginning, but then you're out of time. You can try to skate uphill too, but that's really slow. Why not use Philadelphia? It was remade for Underground 2. They could have stolen the assets just as easily, but they chose not to. So this is an HD upgrade. How are the graphics? In the screenshots, I'd say the game mostly looks fine. Obviously, it's a big improvement over the PS1, with blocky textures and low poly models. This version has debris floating around, puddles, cracks, graffiti, rust, all that good stuff. They must have put all of their resources into the graphics because everything else sucks, like the UI. They added completion bars and counters to the screen that keep track of how much stuff you've collected, and that's really cool. But you can't see what challenges are still left on the pause screen. In the Mall, you have to do a special trick down the 16 as one of the goals. If you don't know your special tricks yet, you actually have to back out of the game entirely and go to the character selection screen to look at them. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And while you're in the skate shop, you can check out all the new deck graphics, but you can't adjust your truck tightness anymore. Why not? You know something great in the original Pro Skater 2? The engine. You're never about to finish a combo when you fall through the level. You can trust that if something goes wrong, it was your fault. Or the stupid taxi driver's fault. You are pissing me off! Tony Hawk 2X did the right thing and reused the engine for their remake. What better way to play the early games than with the early engine? The speed and hang time are balanced perfectly, so the challenge of clearing a gap and reaching a hidden area is exactly the same. Tony Hawk HD, on the other hand, started with the PS2 engine and then ruined it. Wall rides don't work, you glitch into rails, you constantly break things. It feels like an early beta version, it's embarrassing, and it's never been patched. Why didn't they test this game? 12 years passed between versions of this game. Did it really get harder to code this stuff? In the first 2 games, doing a 900 was pretty tough. Take Tony Hawk with his base stats and do a 900 in the first level. It has to be normal stance and you have to be going as fast as you can. You'll still barely pull it off. In HD, I was messing around in the first stage and I did one switch with plenty of airtime to spare. I'm not upset that they changed the physics, but the problem is that they didn't change anything else. The levels are designed for a certain level of height on your tricks. This version messed with it. You'll find that you jump over stuff you need to collect, and gaps that used to be hard are really easy now. That's just the physics. The engine has more problems than that. Originally, I played this game on a laptop. It's a powerful machine with an i7 and a discrete graphics card. When I first fired up the game, it would play fine, but after a while it would get slower and slower until it eventually became unplayable. It's horribly optimized, and there's no way to turn down graphics quality or change the resolution. It's locked at 720p unless you edit the source files. Another great thing in the classic games is the animation. To this day, I think the 360 flip in Pro Skater 2 is the best looking one in a video game. Just look at it. It's incredibly satisfying. The later games messed with it a little bit. The Pro Skater 3 one looks weird, and the later games had the double tap control, where the trick would start as a varial flip, then convert into a tray in the air with a sound effect. That version never really felt as good. The bail animations were great too. You could really feel the impact, and you could mash buttons to get up faster, which made it more exciting. What HD should have done is started with the same animation and fixed a few small issues, like the missing nollie inward heel flip animation and the off-axis varial flip that wobbles if you spin. Aside from that, the rest should have stayed the same. The amount of time each trick takes is important, down to the exact frame count. If you played these games back in the day, you'll find that some of the stuff you used to do will work differently because the animation lengths aren't the same. Look at the new judo and airwalk animations. Just horrific. The nollie flip underflip is completely wrong. The name describes exactly what the trick is. It's a full flip and then another flip. But look at the new version. It's just a weird half kickback. Why change it? The trick hasn't changed. Mullen's original footage still exists for reference. And the nollie impossibles rap wrong too. Nothing looks good. Look at how you clip through the coping when you land in grinds. And look at these hard flips. I did a whole video about the hard flips in the Tony Hawk series, but they're leaps and bounds beyond this. Let's look at a backside heel flip side by side with the original. Honestly, which one looks better? I'd take the original any day. But that's not all. There's also a weird wobble when you land. Your character isn't turning, it's just an animation of the board moving around. It looks ridiculous. They also added ragdoll physics for the bails. Now, instead of falling naturally and getting back up, your skater will die in midair and flop around lifelessly in rigor mortis, then the screen flashes white and you're back up again. What was the point of that? Not only does it look worse, but it takes out the excitement of trying to get up as quickly as possible before time runs out. It also respawns you in really inconvenient places. If they were trying to impress us with the ragdoll stuff, they're about 10 years too late. The playable skaters were also great in Pro Skater 2. More than just having a variety of different skins to play as, the skaters were actually different. They had their own tricks, a couple outfits, and more importantly, they had an unlockable video at the end of the career mode. Rodney Mullen's video is what got me into skateboarding single-handedly. I'm sure tons of skaters can say the same about one of the videos. HD, again, blows it. The roster is different. Some of the more relevant skaters are still there, like Costin, Reynolds, Mullen. Wait, Rodney Mullen is Goofy now? That's not right. Anyway, Hawk himself is included, and they added some more current skaters like Chris Cole, Nigel Houston, and Lindsay Adams Hawkins Pastrana. I guess that's cool. I wouldn't want to see the same old videos again, and a lot of the original guys don't have much new footage anyway. But here's the thing. There are no unlockable videos. Yeah, you can look these skaters up on YouTube, but where's the fun in actually completing the game? What's the point in playing through multiple times? There's nothing. Skate on, my son. The rest of the unlockables in Pro Skater 2 were awesome too. In addition to extra levels like Skater's Heaven and the Chopper Drop, the cheat codes were my favorite. After beating everyone's career 100%, I would often turn on sim mode and try to do realistic tricks and combos. There's also fun stuff like moon physics. And if you ever got bored of that, you could create a skater or even your own park. You could make your local park, turn on sim mode and skate it. You could save parks to memory cards and share them too. It was a lot of fun. And while you're sharing the levels with a friend, you can also play one of the countless multiplayer modes with split screen. HD, like you'd expect, has none of that. At all. I guess making those features would have been too much work, even though they probably could have stolen it from Underground like everything else. But hey, there is one new exciting feature that's exclusive to HD. It's called Big Head Survival. In it, you skate around and try to get points before your head gets too big and explodes. It's okay. The tragic flaw is that it's insanely easy. I beat every level first try. I wouldn't mind it as a new bonus mode, but the fact that they spent time on this instead of one of the countless features they cut is inexcusable. Complete the mode and you unlock the big head cheat. Another new mode is called Hawkman. You have to collect these pellets, as the game calls them, while doing a specific type of trick: grind, wall ride, manual, or air. Each level has a correct route you can take to get them all in the time limit, but the difficulty is pretty uneven. School, too, is a huge challenge. The next new thing is the projectives. In an effort to breathe some new life into the old levels, projectives are a list of new challenges that you complete after you beat the levels normally. It's not a bad idea, but unfortunately they went about it in a really lazy way. Each stage has combo letters, a high score, and a combo score. Typically you can do these all in a single run. You also have to collect 8 skateboards and boneless the magic bum 3 times. You have a minute. And you'll need it because the bonuses don't count most of the time. Being only a minute changes the feel. Instead of searching for stuff, it's more about planning the perfect run where you have time to do it all. It's kinda cool, except that they do the exact same thing in every level. And they didn't really do a good job. The combo letters are often really awkward and difficult to reach. True, the levels weren't designed with this in mind, but they could have done better than this. The game is also riddled with other errors and issues. The game won't save unless you run it as an administrator. You can't skip music tracks. Car plants don't seem to work. You can't level out. Sometimes you manual without manualing. In big head mode, your shadow gets cropped. It's a mess. So what should you do if you want some more Tony Hawk in your life? It depends which ones were your favorite. If you love the PS1 classics, you can play them on PS1 or Dreamcast or even your phone. The PC version is also a great choice. It combines both of the games in one, and assuming you can get it to work with any compatibility issues, you could try that. Tony Hawk 2X is another excellent version if you still have an Xbox or 360. If you love the PS2 era games, check out Thug Pro. I have a review of that right here. It's basically a PC mashup of all the games in one spot. It's awesome. But Tony Hawk HD has no merit. It doesn't do anything noteworthy that the originals don't do better, and it doesn't reach anybody who doesn't have access to a better version. Whose fault is it that this game is so bad? Did the developers just blow it? Honestly, I think they're capable, but they just ran out of budget. Everything feels rushed. Given a few more months or even a year, this game could have been the definitive version of Tony Hawk. But now we'll never get that. Nobody will want to touch a remake after seeing how this one tanked. Maybe the fan scene will step up and fill in that gap? Until then, we've still got our PS1s. What was your first experience with the Tony Hawk series? Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Also in the comments, post any questions about skateboarding, video games, or anything else that you want for my next Q&A video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.